guys, happy Vlogtober, day 7. Today we're going to be looking at my October TBR. These are all of the books that I would like to read in the month of October. We're going with a spooky horror theme. These are the highest rated horror books on my TBR according to Goodreads. Let's get into it. The first book that I have to talk about is the Raindrops Book Club Pick of the Month. This book is The Reformatory by Tanner Review. Again, this is the highest rated horror book on my TBR according to Goodreads. This has some historical elements. It's taking place in the 1950s, the Jim Crow era in Florida. The Reformatory is based on the Dozier School of Boys, which was a real school in Dozier, Florida, where terrible acts were committed. We have our main character of Robbie, who he has this ability where he can see ghosts or haints. Robbie is accused, I'm going to say loosely, of assault. His punishment is to be sent to the reformatory school for 6 months. So he was unjustly sent there. There was not a trial or anything like that. On the outs, so we have him there at this terrible place that's just filled with so much, you know, when you go to a place and you can feel a vibe or like a heaviness. And as I told y'all, he can see ghosts, so he's really in tune with that. He's a 12-year-old boy, mind you, and has all that put on his shoulders. Next, we have Gloria, who is his older sister. She's 16 years old, and these children are kind of left alone with none of their parents are there. Their mother passed away from cancer, and their father was accused of a terrible crime that he did not commit, so he's run away to Chicago. So, you know, Chicago's nowhere near Florida, and these children are left on their own. They do have a technical guardian who is a very old octarian, I forget the word, but she's in her 80s, an old woman, and that is who they're left in the care of, and things with all that don't necessarily go as planned. So Gloria is basically on her own trying to get her brother out of this awful place that they've only heard awful things about. And again, as I said, there's that supernatural ghost element, but also that historical element, because this is horror in the way of ghosts, but also of how Black people were treated in the Jim Crow era South. And the reformatory, the fact that there really were schools like that, and it's kind of just a hidden part of American history. The next one is our big, beefy book of the month, and that is Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez. This is a work of translated fiction. This one is a sprawling historical epic, which y'all know I devour that. But we have a woman's mysterious death puts her husband and son on a collision course with her demonic family. And this is the first novel translated into English from this author. As I said, this is really sprawling. We have like the swinging 60s in London, which y'all know I love that. We're in Argentina and part of this. And so basically there is this cult that the father has been kind of working for. He does not want his son to grow up in that way. This cult that has very like occult stuff is happening with, you know, occult with an O. He doesn't want his son around all this demonic stuff, and he's trying to get his son out of that. But it's like the Hotel California. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. These people, they're not wanting that connection. They don't want the son to leave because he is technically related to them, being that is the mother's family. So this is his father trying to break away from this cult, and as I said, we're going to have some paranormal stuff, and this was translated by Megan McDowell. Going over to kind of a unique book, because I don't own any book like Slewfoot. This just looks so different from any book that I own. We also have illustrations throughout, which is super cool. This one is right up my alley for horror, but Slewfoot by Brom. This is a tale of bewitchery. This is taking place during like the Salem witch trials era. It's set in colonial New England, and it's a tale of magic and mystery, of triumph and terror from the acclaimed author and artist Brom. An ancient spirit awakens in a dark wood. The wild folk call him father, slayer, protector. The colonists call him Slewfoot, demon, devil. To Abatha, a recently widowed outcast, alone and vulnerable in her pious village, he is the only one she can turn to for help. Together they ignore a battle between pagan and Puritan, one that threatens to destroy the entire village, leaving nothing but ashes and bloodshed in its wake. Yeah, this is the one that's right up my alley. Again, these were all the highest rated ones, but I love a New England setting, especially in the fall time, with the Salem witch trials kind of involved. That's super cool, kind of with that setting as well. But this has a witchy story kind of spirit. I don't know if this is technically folk horror, but folk horror is my favorite kind of horror, and this just seems right up my alley. I love a witchy book. New England, Stephen King, like the king of New England. This is Misery. This one isn't really paranormal, but we have this famous author who he's in a terrible accident and he has to hire an at-home nurse. And it turns out that at-home nurse is a mega fan. Like, she loves all his books, except she doesn't like the turn that one of his books took. And again, she's his nurse. She can do like anything to him, and she wants him to write his greatest work just for her. Like, what happens if like she doesn't like how that turns out? She could do things to him. That's very scary. But this looks very like claustrophobic, cold, and that's another thing. More so with thrillers, I like that claustrophobic feeling. I like the cold feeling. It stresses me out. It has me on the edge of my seat. So I do think I will like Misery by Stephen King. I know I like to add a graphic novel and nonfiction book to my TBR every month. Now, the graphic novel is a children's book that I did pick up at an indie bookstore in Georgetown, South Carolina. I was seeing if I had the card in here. I don't remember what the name of that store was, but if I remember, I will link them down below. They have a website, and I saw this one in the window there, and I was like, yeah, that's a dachshund lover and a dachshund owner. I need that. This is Two Dogs. It says by Ian Falconer. It's the creator of the Olivia books. You know, the little pig, Olivia, love her. So this one is about two dogs, and they are dachshunds, and we our other big, beefy, chunky book this month. It's nonfiction. I Am Intimidated. This is one that is very highly rated. A lot of people love it. And I'm talking about The Warmth of Other Suns, the epic story of America's Great Migration. This is by Isabel Wilkerson, and she was winner of the Pulitzer Prize, and this was winner for the National Book Critics Circle Award for nonfiction. This is on so many lists, like the best books of the century so far. I'm pretty sure it was on there. And it says this is an epic, beautifully written masterwork. Pulitzer Prize winning author Isabel Wilkerson chronicles one of the great untold stories of American history, the decades-long migration of Black citizens who fled the South for northern and western cities in search of a better life. From 1915 to 1970, the exodus of almost 6 million people changed the face of America. She interviewed more than 1,000 individuals and gained access to new data and official records to write this definite and vividly dramatic account of how these American journeys unfolded, altering our cities, our country, and ourselves. And as I always tell y'all, the past is what makes us to where we are in this moment and why certain cities are the way that they are. And that's going to be really interesting to read about. I've heard about this book forever, and it seems like this is going to be the month that I pick it up. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you made it all the way through, leave a Halloween emoji in the comments below. And as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye! If you are familiar with my videos, you're used to seeing Sherman at the end of them. Sadly, Sherman has since passed away, but I would still like to encourage you guys to help your local shelters. Sherman was at the Darlington County Humane Society in rural South Carolina. I always have their link down below in the description if you guys would like to help them, but also help your local shelters as well. You can do that by donating, sharing posts like this one, volunteering, fostering, and adopting, which it's great to do all of those things. Great to help your community, great to help the animals in your community, and I cannot recommend it enough. All of my pets were rescues. They were strays or from animal shelters, and I love them so much, and I know how much love they can give, so knowing these pets at the shelter can equally give that much love, it's amazing. And y'all should totally take part and help out those local animal shelter pets, and please help them.